Stacy went to the walk-up Cinderella's royal table and overspent on her budget, so she's now looking for a single dollar sign for the rest of the day.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
Hey y'all, it's LJ here, owner and founder of Smart Moms Plan Disney and Smart Moms Travel. We are so glad you're here for another episode of the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. Now, here's your host, Allie.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to a very, very helpful episode of the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. I am your host, Allie, joined here this morning on a rather early morning as we record by Stacy and Becki. Good morning, girls.
Hey.
Good morning.
I can't wait to dig into this episode because I think that all of our episodes are very helpful and fun, and that a lot of listeners have told us they get so much out of listening to this podcast. But today's episode is like the one. Is this the one? Is this the most important episode?
How often do we talk about this being something you have to make your trip be all that it needs to be? And Stacy and I sat down and were drawing out the outline for this. And I dare say Stacy was teaching me things and I was teaching Stacy things. And it was just like, there is so much.
Yeah, it was a real moment of discovery as we were going through, and there were moments I was just cackling because I could not believe all the things I found in this fun little app. And it's going to be fun. I'm excited about this episode. I hope that it's as helpful as we are certainly striving for it to be.
Yeah, so today we're talking about of course, My Disney Experience app. And this is the app that saves your life and saves your time and saves your hunger and saves your sanity when you're at Walt Disney World specifically. All of the Disney destinations that we talk about, that we book as Smart Moms travel agents, they all have their own version of this app. But today specifically, we are talking about Disney World's My Disney Experience app. And it really does save all of the things I just alluded to. This app is huge. The navigation, I don't even think, I mean, like you said, you were teaching each other things. Like, we know the most important corners of this app, but I swear if you keep digging below the layers, and we're going to kind of talk about the different areas of the app and the areas that you can explore as a listener or someone planning your own Disney trip, you'll just continue to discover. I'm certain that this app can do pretty much anything you need it to on your Disney vacation. But I am curious because as a Smart Moms agent, I book a lot of families that are a lot of different ages. And the app setup and the functionality of the app seems to be something that feels very intimidating to some, not necessarily all, but it does seem to be like a pain point at the beginning of that planning. And some of my advice is always play in that app, play around in the app, get it properly set up, get your reservation properly linked, which we'll kind of talk about here in today's episode, but then play in the app. And before you just play, listen to this episode because this is going to be like guided play.
Maybe listen to this episode more than once,
Yeah,
for sure. We have seen it grow over time and change and morph, and yet it's still this is a pretty easy app to deal with. It is pretty, what's the word for it, Becki? I know you've used it, user-friendly, but you use a word for it, instinctual or
Intuitive.
Intuitive. Yeah, you have used the word intuitive, and playing around with it is so key. So get that app open for this episode and let's learn together.
Yeah, I think a misconception that a lot of people lean into ahead of their trip is I don't want to go on vacation and be on my phone the whole time. And they think that this app is going to make that a reality for them. And I just don't think that that's true. You're going to be turning to this app a lot, but you don't have to have your nose in it the entire time in order to have a good time. But do either of you struggle like with the tech of the app? I know that generationally, technology can be very polarizing. I have no problem. Like you all were just saying the word intuitive or instinctual. And I have no problem really just kind of sitting down and clicking around and figuring it out. And actually, my dad really likes to try to figure out technology as well. And like he is a person that likes to have his own My Disney Experience account that he's managing. Like he does not want me to manage him. He wants to make sure he can pull it up and it says, "Hi, Joel." Like it's not me managing him. And so I think it is user friendly for generations too.
When I was going to Disneyland when I was younger as a kid and even into a teenager and early married years, the app wasn't a thing, right? I am the generation that I got a cell phone in high school. So technology is kind of second nature to me. However, when I was going to Disney growing up, and like I said, into those early married years, you didn't have an app. You had a paper map that you grabbed on the way in, along with a paper schedule that told you what time all of the parades were and the shows were. And this is essentially taking that, but making it so much more user friendly, so much more information available for you, and not having to unfold a paper map. It's just open your app, a couple clicks, and you're there.
Yeah, so the paper maps are still available for sure. And I know that some people are like, I will never get rid of my paper map. I will not get rid of my paper calendar. Like I get it. I just don't even use a Google family calendar, if you can believe it. I have a paper calendar that I write on. So I understand the people that are of the mindset, I want that paper map. I get it. But I do want to just stop before I continue and say, if you have the ability to look at your phone while listening to this episode, do not do this if you're driving. If you're driving or doing something that needs your eyes in focus, please just continue listening and visualize, but then maybe go back and listen to it while you're able to use and navigate your app as we talk through it. So go ahead and open that My Disney Experience app. If you haven't booked your trip yet, but you are thinking about booking a trip, now is a good time to know that if you have any Disney login, so Disney Plus, ESPN, Hulu works, any Disney owned brand login, that is going to now work to log you into your My Disney Experience account. So even if you've never been to Walt Disney World, but maybe you've been on a different Disney destination vacation, or you have one of those things that I just discussed, go ahead and log in with that information. It's going to pull it up, your name. It's going to be amazing. And you can do this navigated walkthrough under your own name, just like my dad likes.
I really thought when we were starting this that definitely walking into some old jokes here for me, but I appreciate that y'all avoided those when we were talking generations. I just, I'm the older generation in this discussion.
Well, Stacy, to be fair, I opened that door for you, but you didn't walk into it, and I didn't want to offend you.
And we'll be honest, Stacy, you are our editor. Like for a grandma, you are like a tech queen.
Well, that's very kind of you. I do stumble around with technology these days every once in a while, but let's talk about our logins whenever we have to log in to edit this show. Y'all see, y'all know I get frustrated when that login doesn't work and I'm yelling at the clouds.
I will say, I was surprised to hear you both say that you thought this was a user-friendly app. People are scared of this app. People are generationally scared of the technology. I get it. It can feel overwhelming when you're trying to learn something new. I understand all of that. And I don't mean to throw extra worry into those fears, but I don't actually find this app super user friendly. Yes, it is kind of self-explanatory. You can figure it out, but sometimes the processes to link and things like that are a little bit difficult to link with friends, to link reservations. I think it's more difficult than it needs to be. And so hopefully we can alleviate some of that difficulty today.
With the linking, especially of your reservation, I think it's easy to overlook that My Disney Experience is talking about the app. It's talking about this vacation-centered portion of the Disney technology, right? But on the Disney World website, there's also a section of the Disney World website called My Disney Experience. And sometimes I find linking my hotel on the website is sometimes a helpful place. However, the app is definitely what we're focusing on, and you can link on the app. And we're going to give you some tips. I feel like the second half of what we're talking about today is so tip heavy that I dare say everyone will learn something today in our conversation.
Yes, listen all the way to the end and get those tips. Understand the navigation throughout and then get those tips. Okay, where to start? You're going to get your login. Again, if you already have a Disney branded login, that's going to work. A lot of people don't realize that. So there's your first tip. So log in, you're going to download the app. Even before that, if you don't have it, you can get it in your app store, regardless of the type of phone you have. If you're that person that turns the text bubble green in the group text thread, because you have an Android, you can still use this app. It's fine. So you're going to download that and you're going to log in. So when you open the app, Becki, what page does it pull you to?
So the first time you log in, it's going to depend on if you've already established yourself in the app or not. But the first time that you log in, it's going to walk you through a tutorial, which is super helpful. I know that I'm that person who's like, skip the tutorial because I don't want to waste my time. But really, that tutorial is super helpful in making sure that you're turning on your navigations. It's going to ask you to make sure your Bluetooth is turned on, ask you about your settings. It's really going to help you get your app started so that everything else works seamlessly. When you're in the park, you want your pictures to show up into your app. You want your location to be shared so you can see in real time where you are. And so that first time login, it's going to take you through that tutorial, and it's so incredibly helpful. So don't skip that.
Yeah, the Bluetooth is how Disney makes the magic happen. A lot of times you're going to ride an attraction, and if you have your My Disney Experience logged in on your phone, or if you have that Magic Band on that's linked to your My Disney Experience account, those ride photos are going to show up in your photo portal within the My Disney Experience app without you having to do anything. And it really is like a layer of Disney magic. And I hear people saying all the time, how did it know it was me? And that's going to be from those Bluetooth services. So you're going to want to make sure those are turned on. And we're going to talk about the locations and things, of course, but that is how you're going to know wait times and mobile order things and things like that. So Bluetooth on, very important.
Also, as the former Android user in this group, I was the green bubble for, gosh, 6 months of our group. I fought becoming an iPhone user for decades, guys. Like, I'm 40 and I barely got an iPhone like a year and a half ago. And it was because of this podcast team that I eventually moved. And don't stress. If you are an Android user, you can 100% use this app. But what I really do love about
Becki, I'm going to pause you right there. Android users are unapologetically proud of being an Android user. None of them are stressing. They're like, y'all are the fools. We know that our app works better than yours. Like, it's fine. We
that's
know it's fine.
that's fair. I was on that side of the
Yeah.
conversation for a really, really long time. I was never going to give up my Galaxy.
Yeah.
Here we are. Anyways, what I really appreciate is when you get logged in and you've gone through that tutorial, that tray at the bottom of your screen is why I consider this to be a very intuitive, simple app. Because what everybody always told me about iPhones is you just have your home button. It's going to get you back to where you need to go. And it makes it so simple. That tray at the bottom that has the home, the location map, the action menu, which is the plus sign, the search, and then the hamburger menu is so easy to maneuver when you realize what each of those 5 little icons do.
Yeah, we're definitely going to click each of those here throughout the episode, but Becki is really talking about if you have your app open right now, you see those 5 icons at the bottom. So she used the word hamburger menu. Those 3 lines, the horizontal lines on the right side of that bottom stretch, that's called the hamburger menu. So if we use that term, it's those 3 little horizontal lines, that's the hamburger menu. And then the plus sign in the center there, that's the actions. So we're going to continue to refer to those as actions and hamburger, and you're going to know what we're talking about stretched right across the bottom there. Okay, now that you have your app downloaded and you are logged in or at least at a home page point and you see those little 5 icons across the bottom, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have lots of tips and dive into each of these sections so that you are a My Disney Experience pro.
Hi, Smarties. Carly here from the podcast. You hear us talking about the right way to do Disney, but let's be honest, taking notes isn't exactly easy while you're busy momming and on the go. There's an easy way to get all of those tips organized to simplify your vacation. Check out our 4-part guide bundle available now in our Patreon shop. Also, if getting guides is something you like to help with your planning, joining our Patreon as a Diamond Mine subscriber gives you a new Disney guide every month. Either way, we have got your back on knowing how to plan your park days so you feel like the expert before you walk in the gates.
Okay, we have our apps open. If you are listening right now and you have the ability to be also looking at your My Disney Experience app, please do that. We should be open to the homepage right now. The balloons are across the top. It's welcoming you. It's very Disney and very friendly there on that homepage. And the little house icon at the bottom left of the screen is all lit up because you're on your home page. Home page is going to be your navigation for everything. This can direct you to so many important places for your vacation. This is where you're going to do the most stressful thing that everybody thinks is the most stressful thing ahead of your vacation. Stacy, do you know what I'm talking about?
You must be talking about this brand new Lightning Lane multi-pass and single pass purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where on the very top, it'll have it available for you. You don't have to go hunting for it. 7 days, because we're all staying on property to get this 7-day perk. We want to be able to get in there 7 days before we check in, and you'll see a Lightning Lane multi-pass, single pass window. With it, you have a purchase button right there. You also have your learn more option, which is there, and it will take you through a lot of your instructions. This is one of those things where you're going to do this before your 7 days, right? This is where you're in planning mode, you're playing around in your app. You're going to go ahead and read your lightning lane details. It's got a lot of information here. You do not want to be reading this for the first time when it's time for you to actually be making your selections, right? So you've already done that. So we're going to say that it's your 7 day window has opened up, and you're going to push that purchase button. And it's so really simple. You've got calendars in here to pick your start date. And if you're at your 7 day mark, it'll be the first button that you can even click. And you'll go from there to start choosing your selections. And it will really walk you through step by step. We do have episodes about the lightning lane so that you will have more detailed information, but just know that you don't have to go hunting when it's time to purchase your lightning lane multi-pass or single pass. It is right there up front.
Yeah, I think it's most important to know where these things function. The how, we can't really dig into the how of every single thing, right? Like this would be a 17-part episode. But Stacey's exactly right. See where you click that lightning lane, multi-pass, single pass. See where it is, read about it ahead of your trip, and know where to go in the app. Once you've done that, you're not going to need to be as overwhelmed as it probably feels. The map is going to tell you, the calendar is going to tell you. And this is what Stacey was talking about when she said, Becki said the app was intuitive, right? You can follow the prompts very easily.
Wait, so wait, the lightning lane area of the map though is different for me because I have an upcoming trip. I already have my multi-day pass or my multi-pass purchased. And so when you're saying it's there to purchase, for me, it's showing me which passes I have. And so easy peasy, your multi-passes, your lightning lanes, like all of them are going to be right there when you open your home section of your app. So you're not having to hunt for them.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you said that because I think people stress like, well, where am I going to find it? How am I going to know what I have? How am I going to remember? These are the things that you will. All I can say is you will, just trust it. Trust this app. It is very smart. It will work. Below that is another really important thing. Upcoming plans. That's where it's going to show, like Becki was just saying, the lightning lanes that you may have, but it's also going to show any Disney resort reservations that you have, any dining reservations that you may have. You're going to start to see those upcoming plans. What if you haven't yet linked your resort reservation, Becki? How can I make it appear?
So you're going to have to link your account. And if you're using a packages are so simple to add into the app because we are able to just use that one confirmation number and then it will attach to every person that's in your party. And we're going to go through what your party looks like and how to link everybody as your friends and family, all of that. That is part of our conversation today. But getting our confirmation number in for your hotel reservation is going to add that into your homepage.
Absolutely. And you are really dead on with that. You have to make sure your friends and family are set up first before you link your reservations, because otherwise it's going to be asking you to match people and there's not going to be anybody to match to. And it becomes complicated because then you may add a duplicate account. So making sure that you're properly linked with friends and family and that you've created managed accounts for your kiddos is really important before you link that resort reservation or package. Okay, what about joining the virtual queue? That's another huge thing that you do at Disney World. Everyone knows as we're recording this, Tron and Guardians of the Galaxy are both virtual queue attractions. And it is like the freaking Hunger Games to get a spot in the virtual queue. Talk to me about it, Becki.
I honestly feel like Allie is the expert in our group of virtual queue. Like, I don't know that there's anybody better to take advice from, but virtual queue is also going to be right there on your home screen. Scroll down or up. Do you guys consider it scrolling down or scrolling up?
That is the question.
Yeah, so scroll to where you see virtual queue on your home, and it's going to ask you to join virtual queue. That's also where you can go in and see if you've secured a virtual queue, what time and where they are in the process of getting you there. So right now I just opened it. It says Tron Light Cycle Run, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Both have upcoming virtual queues in Magic Kingdom. And then Epcot has Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind as an option for virtual queue, which opens at 7 a.m. every day.
Absolutely. And when you say 7 a.m., you mean 7 a.m., not 7 a.m. and 10 milliseconds. 7 a.m.
You better be on there at 6:58 and no later, watching that atomic clock.
Oh yeah, I've got that atomic clock open at minimum 10 till for sure.
Yes.
So the other really important thing, and this is another question I get all the time, is the park hours section.
Mm.
So that's actually, if you're scrolling right now and looking with us, probably appearing right above your virtual queue tab. The park hours and show times section, if you just click that little guided side arrow that says all hours, you can actually see for the day what times the park opens and closes. If you're an on-site guest, you can see when the early entry starts. If you're a deluxe guest, you can see if there are deluxe after hours happening that night in a specific park for you. And it's really just going to give you all the information you need for when you should leave for transportation and what time you think you'll be back to your resort and all of those things. I will also say it's so important to be looking at this ahead of your trip. And the park hours are typically released about 2 months at a time. It's very important that you look, especially if you're traveling during a party season or any sort of after hours event season, because you're gonna be able to see, oh, Magic Kingdom closes at 4 p.m. when I'm there on Tuesday. You don't want to get there and be surprised that a park closes early. So definitely checking out the park hours ahead of your trip is going to be super important. And that's where you can do that.
I love that you said click on those all hours because it takes you into that map and you can see how far the hours have been projected. But also, if you scroll on that all hours section, it shows you what rides and what restaurants and things are closed so that you can plan around knowing right now Peter Pan's flight is closed. Maybe Test Track is closed. You don't want to go into your vacation expecting to go on something and then find out when you're there that it's closed for refurbishment.
And how many people do that? I mean, so many people arrive and they're like, oh, it's my daughter's lifelong dream to ride Peter Pan, and it's gone. These are things you can put in your arsenal of knowledge ahead of traveling. If you just play around in the app, that is how you're going to make sure that you are as prepared as possible. And of course, if you're working with a Smart Moms agent, we do our very best to keep you informed of all of those sorts of updates and closures, but this is how you can best help yourself.
Sometimes we're in the moment. We don't always notice these things, and we'll be in there. We'll be a little flustered because we can't find what we're looking for. Always check up at the top. For example, in this park hours button, it shows where you can look at your today's option, which is on the left-hand side near the top, and then at the right, it has park hours. And sometimes you just need to toggle that. You're like, I just was looking at it. I don't know where it went. It's possible that you just need to hit one of those buttons at the top. Several of these sections will have multiple options at the top to take you into different areas. So you'll see that in several different places. This is one of those things where I may be a little techie, but I'm also still a little bit older and need some reminders. So I go ahead in here and I set my alarm for about 30 minutes before something I want to see, and I'll have it buzz for me and tell me to start heading that direction. And I see you
Yeah, but
smiling
Stacy,
already. I see
we
you
all
smiling
know
already.
we all know that if you don't label that alarm, it's going to go off and you're going to say, what is that? And you're just going to silence it and you're going to miss your freaking tour.
So true. I know that's true, but guys, this is what I have to do. But yes, label your alarm so you know why it's going off.
A little backstory. We've said this on the podcast before, but if you missed it, we as a podcast team for Stacy's big birthday surprised her with a walking with Walt tour at Disneyland. And she set an alarm so she wasn't late for it. And it was going off while she was on Small World. And it was going off and she was silencing it. All the while they're calling my phone and they're like, is she coming? And I'm like, I swear she's coming. She wasn't coming.
And I was on Small World going, what's this alarm for? This is just something I had said a
Anyway.
long time ago.
But that is true though, because sometimes of the year, Fantasmic will have two showings on certain times of the year, and other times it just has one later showing. And so really knowing and familiarizing yourself with the time of year you're going and the show times and everything is going to be really important. Okay. The only other thing on that homepage is the informational extras. Becki, do you ever even scroll that far?
Yes, but I would really encourage you, all of those things that are underneath there, right? There's currently Tiana's Bayou Adventure information. There's going to be things about PhotoPass. There's going to be things about all kinds of other stuff, extras, we'll say. And I would say talk to your travel agent before you are investing in any of these extras, because some of these things might already be included in your package and you don't want to accidentally spend more money than you need to spend. Talk to your Smart Moms travel agent about any of those extra things. The things we've already talked about on the homepage is really everything you need to be successful on that portion of the app.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make a really broad statement and say everything below the virtual queue is like a rabbit hole. And before you fall down it, make sure you know where you're falling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but let's keep going with the important things. So we're going to continue our navigation on the bottom toolbar. So we're going to go from the little house button and we're going to click that maps button. So it's if you don't know what a locations button looks like, it's the little upside down teardrop with the circle in it. You're going to click that and it's automatically, for me, going to open to Magic Kingdom. It's like home base is Magic Kingdom. But if you are on Disney property, it's actually going to open to your location in real time. So if you're at your resort, it's going to open there. If you're at a different park, it's going to open there. So it does find you when you're on Disney property, which is really awesome. So helpful.
This is my favorite section of the app because it is like that old paper map that I used to always get. I think I've passed on from not needing to carry the paper map at this point, maybe for nostalgic reasons only, but this is that map, interactive, in your pocket at all times. So this is the most frequent place I am at inside of the My Disney Experience app.
I was going to say the same thing. This is my favorite section of this app. It can even be fun right now to just see what's going on at Disney World today.
Yeah.
But it is so helpful. I'm excited to go through this step by step and let us look at all the different fun things we can see in this section.
I'll tell you something. Listen to this. I'm looking at Magic Kingdom and the defaulted view of the map is wait times because everybody wants to know the wait times. And as we're recording this, it's currently 8:35 in the morning, which means that early park entry started 5 minutes ago. Okay, this is so important. Here's your 101. Early park entry started 5 minutes ago, and I'm looking around, I'm scrolling through this. I'm like, the wait times look amazing. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Space Mountain is already on a 20-minute wait in that early entry time. And you'll notice if you are looking at the map during an early entry time, only attractions to the right of the castle are open because those are the early entry parts of the park and sort of straight back into Fantasyland, a little bit to the left of the castle, but not Frontierland or Adventureland. Y'all, 5 minutes into early entry, are you seeing the wait for Seven Dwarfs?
70 minutes?
70 minutes. And the park has been open for 5 minutes. Now, that's going to be indicative of two things. Number one, early entry is actually earlier than posted, right? We all know you can sort of start weaseling your way in and working your way through. Like, if you really want to rope drop and get early entry, do not show up at the front gate at 8:30. 8:30 is powering through the park time. You got to get there a little early to scan in because by 8:37, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is going to be on a 70-minute wait.
Yep.
In some cases. That's not going to be every day, but you need to be planning for that because wow.
I need to question the people in the park today because Astro Orbiter is already at 10 minutes. What in the world are these people
That's because
doing?
you have to take the elevator up. That's not because it's going to be 5 minutes. It's just that's how long it takes to get up there.
Don't do it, people. Don't do it.
I'm wondering if this is indicative of like a really busy park day ahead because that Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is not going down. That is going to stay high, I would imagine. And now I'm going to check it throughout the day. You know, this is a really good argument that single pass is worth it because holy moly. Okay, so this is where you're going to find your wait times. And everybody's going to want the wait times. And it's a little bubble. It's going to stick right into, it looks like one of those flower things that you stick down in your flower pot. So it tells you what kind of flower it is. It's like one of those, but it tells you the wait time for the attraction. And if you click on the wait time bubble, it's actually going to populate a new window where it's going to tell you what the attraction is, which park it is in. It's going to confirm that wait time that it's currently set at. And even better, you can hit get directions. I think people do not realize that there is like a map quest inside the My Disney Experience account. Like you can click get directions and it will populate from where you are and give you walking directions.
With a little blue line, it'll take you straight there.
Straight to the
It's a very
attraction.
cool option.
Yeah, and that's super helpful. And if your map is really scrolled out and you're confused because you just see a number, like right now I just scrolled my map out and I see like a 3 and a 5. If you just scroll in on that map, it's going to expand that. So what that meant was there are 3 attractions here that have wait time. There are 5 here. And so it's just kind of consolidating it while you're zoomed out. But if you zoom in, it's going to separate all of those things and show you each ride by ride and attraction. And if there's a star, Becki, what does the star mean?
So the star means it's going to be something other than a wait time when we're on this particular one. So while we're looking at Magic Kingdom, we're seeing that there's a star in Fantasyland. Mickey's PhilharMagic happens to be temporarily closed. And so it's showing up as a star rather than showing up as a wait time for that attraction. And Stacy actually taught me something on this particular section because I am a 2-finger zoom in, zoom out person. I take 2 fingers, push them on the screen and out to zoom in, pull them together to zoom out. But Stacy's like, no, just tap on the bubble and it zooms you in right to that section of the map, super quick and easy. And now I'm like, okay, why was I not already doing that?
Well, what's really great is the way this is set up on the wait times page. We're fixing to move into the other areas. When you start at the top and you click that little drop down menu, the little arrow down, it takes you to other things this map can do. And it's the same setup for each one of those. So if we click on the next one, which is attractions, and it came to a real zoomed out area for me, and it has these numbers like Becki was just talking about, and these lot of different places. So let's go over in Tomorrowland, and the top bubble for me says a 7. So I click on that 7, and this is really just one of those things where you can be like, I'm standing in this area. I don't even know what all of these things around here mean. And you can go into this area and just see that, oh, I'm standing right here. And oh, wow, look to my right, Carousel of Progress. What is that? And we see it's only 5 minutes. What? That sounds really fun. And then we can say, oh, wait, Carousel of Progress is what Katie loves. And everyone on the podcast talks about that I should not do. So
Yeah.
I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. I actually do support Katie's love of Carousel of Progress. It's really a sweet little show. But if you're not familiar with your area, or maybe you see something and you're like, I was really wanting to get on the People Mover. This line right now is totally insane. Let me look around and see if there's something else while I'm in this area that I can do. And this is just a place that you can go for attractions to see what all is available.
Yeah, and if you're in the wait time section still, which is back, and you hit show list, it's actually going to put the attractions in order of wait time. So if you're like, we just have time for one more thing, what has the shortest wait or whatnot, you can actually view it like that. That's what that little show list is. Okay, so below attractions, you're going to have characters. If you click that, it's going to show you not only where you can meet characters throughout the day, but who you can meet and typically the times you can meet them. Now, Disney does have some pop-up meet and greets, which is amazing. Sometimes you can be walking on a recent trip of mine. I ran into Maleficent, which was crazy, and it was at Epcot, so she wasn't on the navigations menu. However, the ones that are regulars in the park that are there daily, that have special meet and greet locations, you can find them in that characters tab. But just remember that the magic of Disney is that even outside of those, you can definitely run into others.
And this is something you can plan about today when you're not on your trip. Go ahead and start looking around. Just get some general idea of even who's out there. So glad you talked about that show list on the side. That's available in each one of these windows as well, where you can just see a list instead of touching each one of those bubbles every time and just scroll up and down and see it all. And that's really helpful here on this characters list as well.
I like how the show list puts things in alphabetical order to really help you see what's happening there. But also be aware that if you're clicking over to that show list, you will need to filter to the park you're at if it's not automatically doing that for you. Like right now, because I'm not in the park, I'm seeing Aladdin in Magic Kingdom, but Alice in Epcot. And I want to make sure that I'm looking at the characters that are going to be where I am. And then if you choose to see one, let's say I wanted to go see Aladdin, when you click on Aladdin, you can see what time is his next appearance. What time will he be appearing throughout the day to really help you know when you need to set your time limits for those things.
Yeah, and if you're a big Stitch fan, I can see that currently he is in the Magic Kingdom Park and Tomorrowland in the Buzz Lightyear exit courtyard. And we can click on that and it has his appearance times. So just such a helpful piece of this app puzzle.
Okay, the next one in the drop-down menu, actually is a humongous conversation. And so we're going to just briefly talk about it because we have actually a couple recent episodes where we really dive into the how-to on this specific thing. But this is arguably one of the most important things inside the entire app. And that's going to be the dining button. So the little fork and knife. When you navigate to dining, it's going to populate sit down locations, snack locations, and mobile order spots. So knowing how to understand each of them is really important. My oldest daughter especially gets very hangry. So being able to navigate to dining and be like, okay, where can I get a snack the very fastest, or where can I mobile order the very quickest, is very, very, very important.
I also love within this dining section that you can click on any of those locations, again, back to the show list, but you can go in, see the times that they're open, see their location, see their menus, and often you get to see their prices in the app as well.
Yeah. And listen, here's another amazing, amazing tip. And I have to say this because specifically, again, at the time we're recording, this is crazy because normally reservations can be very difficult to get, especially for Disney's Crystal Palace at Magic Kingdom and Cinderella's Royal Table. If you look in your app, like as we're recording right now, I've never seen this, but there's actually a wait time listed above Royal Table and Crystal Palace. So I just clicked it. I clicked on the wait time from within the dining section of the app, and it says Cinderella's Royal Table, 15-minute standby wait. Meaning if you hustled there right now, you could eat there in 15 minutes.
I have never seen that before. And
Never seen it.
My gosh, some princess is going to have the greatest day because who knew?
Yeah. And it says that you can just join the walk-up list. So if I were in the park right now, so the app is very smart. You would actually have to be there to do this, but it says Cinderella's Royal Table, 15-minute standby. That's crazy. You can click join walk-up list and you can secure your spot right there from within the park. So you don't have to actually be there with a hostess at the stand or cast member. So that's fantastic. I guess be on the lookout for that. Like that, look, I'm learning something as we go. I've never seen that. I mean, I have seen walk-up lists, but like a 10-minute wait for one of the most popular restaurants I've never seen. If you look, you'll see a little cell phone icon. It looks like an iPhone, or maybe I'm biased. I don't know. But you see a little cell phone rectangle icon with a fork and knife. Those are the restaurants that you can mobile order at. Again, mobile ordering is a very strategic, specific thing you need to understand. So if you have not listened to our dining episode, I highly encourage that you do that because we do talk about mobile ordering and how to. So we're not going to dive too much into that there. Just want to make sure you know where to do that and how to identify it. That's going to be where. And then just the fork and knife itself, that is going to be the sit down locations that you've probably reserved ahead of arrival. But again, if you haven't, be on the lookout for those walk-ups because like we just discovered, they are available sometimes. So when you have somebody that's hangry, that's going to be where you do it. You're going to probably pre-plan to mobile order. Again, we give those tips in our dining episodes. And this is a really important place inside the locations part of the app.
Because we haven't talked too in depth about this feature, this is a really great place to add that filter piece that's on the top left of your screen allows you to dig deeper. So if you're in Magic Kingdom and you're really craving a bakery item, you can go in and filter just to bakery. You can go in and filter just to German food or American food, Italian food, etc. And then it says more options, but you can also come down and say, I want to look at character dining. I want to look at what places accept my dining plan if you're on the Disney dining plan. This filter section is a fantastic feature specifically for this dining purpose.
Even your price range, you can filter that. I don't know that
Yeah.
I've really ever played with that. So if I just like, let's eat somewhere cheap and on the go. No, let's eat somewhere where it's not going to cost those $5 signs. Let's do a $1 or a $2 sign. I can filter those out.
Stacy went to the walk-up Cinderella's Royal Table and overspent on her budget, so she's now looking for a single dollar sign for the rest of the day.
Yeah, that is hilarious. And that's exactly why you want to play with the app ahead of time. Play with your filters, play with it, play with your app. Get familiar with your app.
All right, so after the dining drop down, if we hit that drop down menu again, we'll see that entertainment is listed, which I love this. We have some awesome episodes about non-height requirement rides, but there's another piece of the Disney World planning puzzle that is so helpful for not just those who maybe are too small to ride all the rides, but maybe just those who don't want to ride as many rides as other people. there are show options here in the entertainment. There's just like the other ones we saw, there's little bubbles that show you so many different opportunities to be entertained without being on a ride. I'm looking at this, man, that first one I clicked on is the Casey's Corner Pianist. Oh
Mhm.
my goodness. I love these guys. They're at Casey's Corner and just having the opportunity to hear them. Sometimes you don't know when they're going to be there, but you do if you have your app. You can check out those times there. You've got things at the front of the park. Flag retreat is such an interesting thing. People love to know exist, and a lot of people don't, but you can see what time that is at 5 o'clock. So, all sorts of examples, including your parades, your fireworks shows. These are listed here as well. So, don't forget that little drop down part. So helpful. And you may just discover something that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, exactly. This is about discovery, and all of these little drop downs are pretty self-explanatory. Here's another really important one that people do not realize is there. You're probably in Magic Kingdom with your kiddo, and you're walking and you're busting it to get to your next lightning lane, and all of a sudden they have to use the restroom. And you're like, where do I go? Where's the closest, quickest restroom? How am I going to get there? We have this lightning lane, we have this dining reservation, whatever it is, filter it to restrooms. And that's going to be self-explanatory. They're going to populate on the map just like everything else populates on the map, and you're going to make it. And then the next couple events and tours are next. And the ones that are going to populate there, these are things you typically have to already have a reservation for, right? So you're probably not going to click on a tour and be like, oh, premium VIP tour, I want to go do that. Like, you have to have a reservation for that. But if you do have reservations for a specific tour, Stacy, and you're caught on Small World and you need to make it to your tour, but you're not sure where to go, you can click the navigation there for events and tours and find out where you're going to meet for your specific tour. If you purchased the memory maker and added that to your package, PhotoPass is so much fun. And there are so many locations that you may not even realize. So a bit ago when Stacy said you may discover something you didn't realize existed, that's another fun thing with PhotoPass. There are so many unique shots. They're magic shots, right? Where the PhotoPass photographers will put special Disney characters or effects inside your photo. They have the special super zoom photos. If you navigate to the PhotoPass, you can find those. So like all of the icons are basically a Mickey head, but then there are special ones with a little phone behind them. And if you click that, you'll see what it is. So Castle Nostalgia Lens, like that's really cool. And you can find that from within your app. This is how you're going to get those amazing pictures. And if you have the memory maker, you're going to get those unlimited digital downloads. Really, really fun. I mean, I have one that I took at Epcot, and I actually used this feature because I had seen people take it. I had seen people posting it, and I was like, I want that picture. And it's like you're blowing bubbles and they're coming out Mickey shaped. And I was like, I really want that picture. And I found it in the app, and then I went and took it.
This was the thing that Stacy and I probably went down a rabbit hole with. We were dying laughing because essentially this PhotoPass lens feature that you can see even within your app is basically Snapchat but Disney. It is, your kids are going to be entertained, you're going to take fun pictures, you're going to make priceless memories playing with these lenses, and you can play with some of them at home too. So don't overlook playing with these to kind of like help build the momentum and the excitement around what you're about to go do.
I was laughing out loud.
Yeah.
All right. And one other thing in this photo pass section that I really love is when you're walking through and you see a little line developing with a photographer, and and you see a crowd and you're like, oh, is that one I want or not? You can get in here, just like Allie was saying ahead of time. She was looking and she found those bubbles. If you just see a line, you might want to know what that photo is going to look like, whether or not you want to get into it or not. Or if you see a photographer standing there without a line and you may be, why is nobody standing there? What photo is this? And what Allie was meaning is you click on that and keep going into it, and it will show you at the top photo. That is the photo with the special features that you will get. So right now I'm looking and there is a photo pass photographer right in the middle of Main Street. I click on that and you can kind of see it in the small bubble, but when I click on Main Street USA near Main Street Bakery, it opens up to a photo of a family holding those Mickey balloons in front of the castle. So that shows you that there at that photographer, that's the type of photo you will be getting. So just keep clicking in, keep clicking in. I really love this section. This can be super time helpful. Take advantage of it so you'll know what's up.
I think that's the key. Keep clicking in, keep clicking in. You know, just on all of these sections, keep clicking in. Like it's the rabbit hole.
It
Yeah.
is. Did you see that there's an augmented reality, which is that lens version that's the castle nostalgia lens that will put the cake castle behind you in the picture?
Yes, I
Oh my
love
gosh,
that.
that's so fun. I didn't get to
Yeah.
see the cake castle because I was a Disneyland girl at that time, but I can totally give myself a picture as if I was there.
I
I
love it.
saw the Cake Castle, and I actually have my favorite Disney shirt I have right now is I have this shirt that says like in my castle era or something, and it has all the different versions of the castle. I know
Oh,
it's so cliche at this point. Everybody's in their different era, but I like it because it's a crossover between two of my favorite fandoms, and it has the Cake Castle on there. It's so cute.
that's very cute.
And I did see the castle. Okay, keep on navigating guest services. This section is huge. It has everything from where can I get my baby some things that they may need? Where can I get some medicine? You know, where's the first aid, AEDs, guest relations, if you have an issue with your app or your reservations and you need to speak with someone, if you have a service animal and you need to find out where they relieve themselves. Spoiler alert, there are little grass patches for dogs to go to the restroom within the parks. All kinds of different things that you're going to be able to find. Coin press machines. Do you guys have pressed coins? I mean, my kids are suckers for pressed coins. And actually, we recently moved in the last year. And as I was cleaning out some of my things, I found this piece of paper in my like box of things, and it had all these pressed coins from my trips when I was little. There was
Uh-huh.
like an original one of Mickey looking at the Tower of Terror. I mean, it had to have been like from the year Tower of Terror opened.
Aw.
And I have all these like pressed pennies. I was super into them. Anyway, you can find those machines. So it's such an overwhelming section because there are so like rider switch. If you're going to be utilizing that, you can find out where those locations are. All kinds of different battery, like if you need to change out your batteries, portable charging stations, it's all going to be right there in the guest relations. And I highly, highly encourage you before your trip, look at that in the list form because it all populates in there in alphabetical order. So before you even just start scrolling and clicking, you can look in that alphabetical order and just see what's available. So you can just open it up and be like, oh, there is a business center. Click on that and then, find out where it is exactly what you're looking for. I mean, my goodness, there's one that says mosquito prevention. Like there's everything inside this app.
It's really amazing. I love it. I can't believe how many windows pop up for that. Oh my goodness. When you scroll out for Magic Kingdom, it says 137. That's a lot of guest services.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's why it's important to click on that list and just see what's available. I really think that's going to be your best bet. And then the next one on the navigation menu, shops. This is the one that you're going to, I don't know where you are if you did that walk-up list for Cinderella's Royal Table and your budget is shot, you might want to avoid the shopping, but here you're going to be able to click on each of the different ones and see, where are the shops around you. Of course, I mean, we like to just stumble into shops, but I guess if you really want to know what's in each area first, or if there's like the Liberty Square parasol cart. I actually had one of those parasols when I was little.
My
Oh,
kids do too. They're so cute. And you can
yeah.
actually get them in a couple places throughout Disney World. So it's awesome.
Different shops, different things, different novelties. You're going to want to click that. Are you guys big shoppers at Disney? I mean, you shop every time you're there?
I go in the shops. I don't always necessarily buy something, but I am a fan of Disney merch. So, yes, I'm going to go in and see what's new. Probably dream about buying another Loungefly or
Mhm.
Spirit jersey that I don't need but want.
Yeah, exactly. I don't always buy. I mean, we usually buy like one thing, but if you're on that once in a lifetime trip, you're probably going to buy a bunch of stuff. Okay, continue navigating resort hotels. If you're trying to find your resort, I don't necessarily recommend just navigating to resort hotels and then scrolling around. That's another one where you're going to want to show that list. So click resort hotels and then you can click the resort that you're staying at. They're in alphabetical order. So if I'm staying at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort and I'm on the Magic Kingdom part of the map, it's going to be kind of difficult to just scroll there if you don't know where you're looking. So if you just click on your resort and then there's going to be a couple of options and you can do find on map and it's going to take you right to where it is in the map. You can scroll in and out and kind of see where your location is in relation to everything else. That's a really great feature, especially if you're just a Disney newbie and you have no idea where your resort is. Like a lot of people book and they don't know. You don't know the layout of Disney World. And so that's going to be great for that. And then, of course, the final one is going to be transportation. A lot of people don't know that Disney has a car locator. So if you're driving, that's really, really helpful. I don't typically drive, so I've never used that feature. Have you all used that feature?
Yes, I have. It's definitely helpful if you are parking in one of the park's parking lots to help you know which row you're on. It's going to save your spot for you. So at the end of the night, once you've gone and completely overstimulated your brain for the day, you don't have to be like, oh, which section of the parking lot were we in? It's super helpful.
Yeah, and then you can just, if you're at a Skyliner park, the monorail, or if you're using water transportation, one of the friendship boats, of course, you're going to ride a Disney bus at some point on your trip. You can navigate to all of those different forms of transportation, the minivans, straight from within that list. So that's going to be super helpful when you're needing to get from place to place, especially if you're, park hopping, you want to get there quickly, or if you're just tired and you're trying to get back to your resort. Do not wander like you're lost ever. If you're lost or you're feeling overwhelmed, it can be solved right within the app. Okay, that is the navigation section of the app. Again, we've kind of mapped out what you can see, but I still highly encourage you go in, play around, be familiar with the different options. I mean, even we learned some available things that we didn't know about, and so it certainly will serve you well to familiarize yourself in that way. All right, we are going to take another quick break. Going to transition to that next section. I want to let everybody know that it's time to do another mailbag episode here on the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. And this time we want to hear from you, actually hear from you. We're going to be taking audio submissions in an Ask Us Anything Disney style episode of our mailbag series. So if you head to our show notes for today, you can find instructions on exactly how to submit an audio question, or if you really have a question you want to submit to us, but you don't want to submit it with your voice, we also have a form in there you can fill out and submit it to us written. So head on to the show notes while we take a break and submit a question for our mailbag episode.
Hey there, friends. I'm Katie Boone, one of your podcast co-hosts. I'd love to invite you to join my Facebook Disney planning community called Planning Disney with Babies, Toddlers, and Preschoolers. In my group, I love discussing all the aspects of planning your magical vacation with little ones. Find my community at facebook.com/groups/Plan Disney with little ones. Again, that's facebook.com/groups/Plan Disney with little ones. When you join, don't forget to tell me you heard about my group on the podcast. See you there.
Hey, wait. I know you're ready to get back to the podcast, but I've got something very simple for you to do. Join my Facebook group, Disney Planning Made Simple. I'm Stacy, one of your podcast hosts, and I have a sweet, friendly Facebook group made for those of us who thrive in the simple pleasures of life, things like family, food, and Disney. Join at facebook.com/groups/Disney Made Simple or follow with the link in the show notes. We'll be so happy to see you there.
All right, navigating right along, we're moving to the actions menu. This is now past the locations button, which I think is obviously so important as we laid out. Becki, talk about this actions location button.
So the actions menu, that little plus sign on the bottom tray of your app, is such a fun little feature because it's going to give you access to a lot of things that you may be overlooking. For instance, checking dining availability, ordering food, mobile checkout with merchandise, what we're hinting at, as well as your availability of like your tip board for the day and so forth. I think there's a lot of things for us to dive into, but the very most common thing that I use this for is checking dining availability and ordering my mobile order.
Yeah, and this is a place where you can see there's going to be overlap in between these different options because several of these things you can also do within that map section where we just were, but sometimes your brain just wants to look at it in this way. So it's just another way of getting to some of these things.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're on your vacation, there are some things like buy tickets and passes. You've probably already done that. You're probably not looking to use that button once you're on your vacation. But yeah, the dining, I agree with Becki. The dining is the most important one. And I think the other one that's fun in this section that a lot of people don't know about is that merchandise mobile checkout. That is so nice. Not every store will take it. But if you just click that button, it will show you which stores will take that. And you can also view a purchase history, which is really cool. I'm like scared to click on that tab. I'm like, how long does that populate? It actually says no purchases found for me. So it must wipe that data. But you can see who's going to offer that mobile checkout, and it's so convenient. Like you can be standing in the Emporium on Main Street. My kids are dying to have these plushies, whatever. You can mobile out, check out right there. It's so easy. You're going to avoid that long, long line, which truly can be horrific at times. And then on your way out, you just show the receipt, you show the item, and you walk out, and it saves you so much time. So I think just knowing that exists is great, and knowing where it exists is really cool, because I have stood in a store before and been like, why won't mobile checkout work? And it's because it's not available in every store. And so check and see if you can do mobile checkout, and definitely use it if so.
I love the mobile checkout option here because one of the main things I love about it is my Disney Visa card is already in there. And as an annual pass holder, it's in there. So I don't have to remember to say, hey, can I get this discount? If I'm doing it with a mobile order checkout, it's automatically done. So it'll automatically, if there happens to be a Disney Visa discount or an annual pass holder discount, it's in there automatically. So I love that because otherwise I might forget to let them know.
One little tip I use in this particular situation is if I want like a 20-ounce Coke or a bottle of water, I step into one of these stores that have mobile checkout. I go to the cooler, grab it, scan it, and then I'm on my way this quick, comparative to going and finding a line to stand in to buy myself a drink. So that is a really, really quick one. And if you're an annual pass holder, that's one of the only ways to get a discount on those types of things, is buying them in a retail location like that. Also, one other thing in this section of the app, I think we need to acknowledge that the park pass reservations are in this section. Most people at this point do not need that. However, if you're an annual pass holder or you're using military non-date-based tickets, you do still have to have that park pass reservation, and this is where you would do that.
Yep, that's such a good tip. Yep, if you are using some form of park entry, that's a very important step for you. Okay, I think that's it for that one. Yeah, I mean, that one is a lesser used one. Again, it's a more used just for dining once you're on your vacation, but yeah, I think that one's good. Okay, the search feature, that's the magnifying glass. This is good for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you don't know where you're going in the app and you have brain fatigue and you're like, I don't remember where to find this, just give it a shot by searching it in that magnifying glass. Chances are it'll populate for you. Popular searches automatically pop up for me. Things like restrooms, right, are on the list. We just talked about how to navigate and find the restrooms near you. So again, that's like I was saying, if you can't remember, you have brain fatigue, if you can't remember how to find something, type it in the search. Chances are it'll populate. But there are other ways to navigate there. So what are some popular things y'all search?
This is really one of those intuitive things. You can actually search for a specific type of food maybe that you want. Maybe you're like, my kid only eats hot dogs, or kid only eats chicken nuggets. You can type in hot dog and do search, but it will then show you all the different places where you can get hot dogs. So I love the search feature. It drives me crazy to watch my husband sometimes looking for something specific, and he's like sliding it around everywhere, and I'm like, just go straight to the search. Like, you know what you want to look for, just type it in.
Yeah, I actually had somebody recently ask me, somebody I was planning a trip with, they said, my son only eats pizza, where can I get pizza? And I did exactly, I'm so glad you said that, because I just went to the search and I typed in pizza, and I just did it now as we're on this, and it's like pizza window at the boardwalk, Blaze Fire Pizza at Disney Springs, Pizza Ponte at Disney Springs, mobile order pizza, Animal Kingdom, mobile order pizza. Like, it shows you literally every pizza option. Like, you're not gonna have your kiddo left stranded if they're picky, because you can search anything. Give it a try. Search something.
The thing that I probably use the search feature for most often is we use fuel rods in the park, and I don't always remember where all of the kiosks are to swap that out. So if I just type in like phone charger, it will tell me where the kiosk is. If I type in fuel rod, it will tell me where it is. But most recently, what we used it for was we woke up and Sean, my husband, was feeling a little bit dragging because we were there in the morning. And he's like, I just need like a Monster Energy, which are very hard to find on property. But we typed it in, and it's actually one of the things that forced us to go to the lunching pad, because while we were there, the lunching pad had it and it showed us that there was a Monster Energy there. So it was so easy to find it rather than going and walking through every store, every restaurant to try to find something.
I just tried it. Let Sean know he can also get it at the Cheshire Cafe and the Centertown Market at Disney's Caribbean.
You can also get them. What I found out is you can get them if you're staying on Disney property before you go get on the bus. There's usually like a store near the bus stop, and almost all of those have energy drinks. So if you're an energy drink person and you didn't get a coffee before leaving the dining area of your resort, then you can go grab a Monster in the little store before you get on the bus.
This is hilarious though, because I typed in Monster Energy just to like play along with you like our listeners are doing. And one of the things that populated was Green Army Drum Corps. Like, I'm like, did that populate because the army brings like Monster Energy, like their energy is
Probably high energy entertainment.
high energy. That is like really a smart feature. That's hysterical.
That's
Wait. Another thing that populated was the Disney Junior Play and Dance. That is some Monster Energy too. That's really funny.
So this may be a real boomer thing to say here, but as I typed in the word monster, only Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor came up by itself. But here it is, the boomer instructions. Actually click the word search at the bottom and it pulls up so many more. So don't just expect, like if it didn't just pop up as you were typing in the word, don't think that it's not there. Go ahead and click the search button and it will show you there is so much more than that.
That was your predictive texting, thinking you're probably looking for Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. Nope, that's not what we were looking for.
I actually, now that I'm reading this too, maybe you have to type in Monster Energy drink because I'm hysterically laughing at the things that Disney is telling me are Monster Energy, like playgrounds. And also I'm thinking that the Cheshire Cafe is there because you can get Monster Energy from the sugar. Like this is the smartest search I've ever seen in my life. It's hysterical. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. It's like my child has Monster Energy.
Yeah. Yeah,
What should I
Tron.
do?
Tron came up. That has Monster Energy. The Disney Springs Kids Club. This is really funny. So yeah, this is obviously a very smart feature and I could laugh at this all day. Yeah, search what you're looking for and I bet you'll find it. Okay. That's going to bring us to our very last one, which means that you're going to have a moment right now. And if you haven't already liked and subscribed to this podcast, please go ahead and do that. Make sure that our episodes drop right into where you listen. You have no idea how much it helps us. If you're a regular listener, you hear us say this all the time, and it's because it really does help us so much. We love doing this show for y'all, and that quick step can help us so much. And if you haven't already joined our Patreon community to get our monthly guides that are companions to these episodes to really, really make you the biggest Disney pro you can possibly be, I highly encourage you head to the show notes for today, join that Diamond Mind membership and get your guides because those will get automatically delivered to your email every single month. And it's like Christmas every single time, something exciting and helpful in your inbox. Okay, that's going to bring us to our very last navigation. That's going to be the hamburger menu. Again, that's the 3 lines on the bottom right of your app. And this one looks like another home screen, like it's going to still welcome you at the top. It is full of important buttons.
It really, really is.
One thing that I get asked all the time when people book a package with me, they see their resort right away, but you know what you don't see there? Your tickets. And they say, where are my tickets? I don't see my tickets. This is where you see your tickets. Navigate to the hamburger menu, click my tickets and passes. You're going to see all of your tickets, theme park tickets, party tickets, and if you're linked to anyone, so because like Becki and Stacy, we're all linked together, I can see your annual passes. So anybody you're linked with, you're going to see their tickets and passes as well.
And this is where everyone discovers that they can go play mini golf. All of these mini golf passes I have in here.
Right?
They won't go away. I've asked
They will
me,
not.
like, why can't I get rid of these? And they said, go play mini golf.
Yeah, what Stacy's talking about is, when you book a package, you get free mini golf passes or included mini golf passes. And so those are going to show up there as well. And maybe you didn't realize that those were a thing and you're going to see them there. And so that's always really exciting. And it's cool to see. And if you don't remember, do I have a park hopper? Do I have a base ticket? You know, did I remember to get my Christmas party tickets? They do require being linked. So if you have a package and you link your package, which we'll talk about here in a second, it automatically links your tickets. But if you bought a standalone ticket or if you bought a party ticket, you do have to link those standalone tickets separately. I have found that sometimes the app wants to reject that. I think it's just a glitch. And so if you have a hard time linking your ticket, your standalone ticket outside of a package into your account, just log in at mydisneyexperience.com and do it from the browser. It will populate and it will link from there if you have trouble with the app. So I don't know why that happens, but sometimes it does. And that's your quick fix. This is also where you can see your lightning lane passes quickly and an overview. I don't have any right now, but I'm sure if Becki clicked that, she would see hers.
I do. Yeah. And actually, when we were back on some of those previous buttons down at the bottom of our tray, the home and the different pieces, all of these things kind of come together in the menu. And this is once I've gone through the exploration and the booking and all of that, the menu is really where I start living because my lightning lane passes are here. I'm going to be able to mobile order food right with the button that says order mobile food, and it's going to pull up what things are around me that have available time slots. It's going to give me that merchandise checkout really easy, as well as wait time, show times. Like this is a different view of a lot of the same things we've already covered.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Again, isn't it so funny that reserve dining and order food is on this page too?
Yeah.
Like it just is.
But it is a good place to go into it. It is a different view, and it does have its own perks from this angle. So I really do like it when I'm in the park.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that Disney has like the same thing in several different versions. They're like, you will find this. Like you will make sure you will know where to do this.
It's why I think I say that it's so intuitive, because there isn't a wrong answer in so many places. Like Stacy was telling me how she gets into certain things and she goes through the map often and I go through this way. And it could just be that our brains are wired two different ways. Maybe it's my Android piece of me pulling on accessing things in a different way. But they make so many paths to get to the same position, and you're going to get what you need no matter which way you come in, which is super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like you, Becki. I use this page. This is how I will get to most things. I don't get to, like, you'll see wait times and show times in this one, and hotel reservation and virtual queues. I don't usually use this page to navigate to any of those. I usually use my homepage and the maps. I do use my future plans button in this. So if you scroll down to your list in my visit, you'll see future plans. That is where I go to link my reservations. So if you click future plans there, if you already have plans, they're going to populate for you. So that's going to actually show you your resort visit and any lightning lanes and dining that you may have already booked. So if you scroll all the way down beyond all of those plans, you'll see a button that says link to account. And that is actually how I navigate to link my package. Before we talk about that, I do want to go ahead and talk about the friends and family and the importance of linking your friends and family. So Becki, talk to us about how you're going to get to your friends and family list.
So from your menu, you're going to scroll down until you find profile. When you click into profile, you're going to see your profile, which you get to choose your character. I am Ariel. What are all of you?
I am Elsa, my very favorite Disney character of all time.
And I have the OG Mickey Mouse himself. He has always been my favorite guy.
I'm a little disappointed that I can't be Elsa from Frozen 2. I would prefer that. So I'm Elsa. I'm reluctantly Elsa from Frozen 1.
Oh man, they have to like be moving on to more characters in the near future. Like they have a lot of really great characters that need to be added for sure. So we've chosen our character. Underneath your individual personal profile is going to have your membership, your passes, your magic bands, your account setting. But on the other side of that screen, remember how Stacy was talking about having some extra windows when you tap around? Next to my profile says family and friends list. And inside of here, you're going to see who you are linked to, but also within these areas is how we're going to add a guest. And you want to make sure that you have created a profile for every single person you're going to be traveling with. That is everybody 3 and older. You can make it for your kiddos who are 3 and under as well, but they aren't necessarily going to have to use that profile. But if you want to establish them as a profile, go ahead and do that. And this is where you're going to be planning everything. Who's staying in your room? Who's going to have access to get into your room? Who's going to be on your lightning lanes or your child swaps or all of those pieces? You have to have the friends and family list updated.
I'm going to say something that is a little confusing. So I'm going to kind of say it slowly because I want everybody to really be able to follow along. The way the app is so smart, right, is by truly being linked to real profiles. So you just said who's staying in your room and has access. Well, your My Disney Experience account and your magic band, they can act as keys to get into your resort room, right? So, Becki, if you and I are staying together, you obviously already have your own My Disney Experience account, as do I. If I go into My Disney Experience account and I make a profile for Becki and then link you, like link that profile I created, that's not going to give you any access because my app is not going to know that that's you, Becki.
Mhm.
So it's not, people say, well, why didn't it auto populate in Becki's account? I added her and I added her to the room. It does not work that way. You have to link real profiles, right? So if you have grandparents that are going or minors that are going with you or people that don't have their own account, go ahead and create their profile, add them as a guest. But if you're traveling with people that want their own account, my dad who wants it to say hello, Joel, that we talked about at the beginning, or Becki who already has her own, Stacy, we all have them, then you can't create that profile. You have to link to their true My Disney Experience account by using their email address and finding them to populate right in. So you can do that through the add guest feature and you can add in their My Disney Experience email address. It will send them an invitation that they will then accept. And then you will have the true Becki to link to the account and that will then populate the plans within her profile. You can also, if you go out of the friends and family list and back to that profile that we were talking about, and you scroll all the way down, it'll say show my linking code. So if I'm standing with Becki and I just want to link without sending an email, we can scan that. It's kind of like a QR code. And that's going to automatically join us as friends and family. So really important to understand the difference of I manage this person or I'm linked to this person. And it's a little confusing up front, but as long as you kind of get that in your mind and you understand who you manage and who you don't, and that you truly have to be linked to the real account, then that's going to help you.
So another thing that I often run into, especially with clients who have multiple people, maybe they're traveling with the grandparents and both of them have their own My Disney Experience account. That's a hint that they have their own Disney profile and they'll want to create them one and they end up having duplicates. It's okay. You can save it. So what I personally do in that situation is use the chat feature that's in this same menu section. Go to that chat feature. It says chat with us, open the chat, tell them that you have duplicate accounts and you need help getting it synced, and they will walk you right through it.
Yeah, I think it's a really important one. So I'm just going to slowly remind listeners where to find that. If you click the hamburger and you scroll all the way to the bottom, you're going to see help and feedback. You're going to see the chat with us feature that Becki is talking about. That will save it. Merge the accounts. It's no problem at all. You'll need the home address and the email address for the friend that you're trying to merge, and it's salvageable. It's a little complicated, but it is easy to save.
Yeah, that chat with us feature is so nice. Having technical difficulties, just go in there. It's real easy, but do that before your trip. Get all of these things we're talking about established before your trip. It will save you so much headache.
Yeah, so when you click the hamburger, again, at the top, you're going to see things that we've already talked about navigating to and through. But if you keep scrolling down to account, which is where we navigated to the profile, that's really the section in this I think is the most important to focus on. You can link things, you can see that. You can see your magic bands. A lot of people are like, oh, does my magic band for my last trip still work? Your magic bands are stored within your account and you can see them by the serial number and by the name. If you've had a personalized name added to that magic band, you can see those there. You can see if they're still active, which I think is great. And then you'll see magic mobile entry. If you're somebody that's like, I don't want to use key cards, I don't want to buy a magic band, magic mobile entry is a key card that's just in your wallet and it can act as your park entry. It can act as your lightning lane return. It can unlock your door. I mean, it can do all of the things that your magic band can do or your key cards can do. And you can just keep it stored right in your phone wallet. So that's great. And then that's just going to bring you to the help and feedback section. So again, you can see that one fun one there is that cast compliments. Have you guys ever given a cast compliment?
I absolutely have, but I don't want anybody to overlook that very first thing under help and feedback. When you click on that little I that says help, this is where it's going to help you with lost and found, guest relation locations. If you're missing a PhotoPass picture that never came through, you can fill it out in here. If you are wanting to learn more about lightning lanes or about your Magic Band Plus isn't syncing, all of that information is right here and available for you so that you can learn these things on the go. But something that I really learned just while I was playing around with this was clicking on like the property rules. People want to know, how big can my stroller be? Can I bring a wagon? Like, what can I take into the park? What can I not take into the park? All of that information is right here in this help section. And I think very, very few people know that this is here.
Yeah, this is a really Allie's dad centered episode because he really does love this app. I'm telling you what, he loves his apps. He sits at home and messes with his apps. He lost his phone at Disney once, like truly lost it. It was terrible. He lost it in It's Tough to Be a Bug. And we found it using the lost and found feature of the app. We reported it. They were able to get a hold of us. And so that was really, really helpful. And I'm so glad you pointed that out, Becki, because again, just knowing that these things exist, this is such a deep app. The depth is crazy how far you can keep going. And I really think that there's nothing it can't do for your trip. I think if you don't know where to find something, again, you go back to that search feature. If you're trying to figure out how to get to you, let's say you have a lightning lane for the Haunted Mansion and you don't know how to get there. You're going to go to the location services. You're going to filter to the attractions. You now know that if you've been listening to this episode, you can filter it alphabetically or by wait time. You can just search in the search feature, Haunted Mansion, and then you can click find it on the map and it's going to take you there. So now you are so much more equipped to know how to find things, know how to get to things. And if you're a Smart Moms travel agent listening today, the hidden Mickey will be mansion.
You know, we might get a little frustrated with this app while we're in the moment, while we're in the heat, while we're in the crowds, and we just can't figure something out. One of my favorite things, I know we have mentioned on this podcast before, around the park, there are blue umbrellas that say guest services. If you are having trouble finding your lightning lane section, or if you're having trouble with a dining reservation on your app, or maybe you need to cancel one and you can't, something's going on, you're flustered, you don't want to get charged for your no-show at a dining reservation and you can't remember how to do it in your app and you're just struggling, go to a blue umbrella. They're so helpful, particularly with the app. They know exactly where everything is. They will zip, 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 get you handled. Just know that they're there. Don't get frustrated. Let them help you. They love to do it.
Yeah, I really hope that if you're listening and following along today, you feel just like way more assured, because I think Disney planning is so overwhelming and it's the how-tos and the wheres. And it can feel like, how am I going to enjoy this vacation? Because I don't understand Disney World. And the app can save you. And I think listen to this episode, follow along with this episode. If you're still confused, listen again. And if you're still confused, use the search icon. And it's going to unravel itself.
And sign into this app and go find the photo lens and put something funny on your face. Any day you need to cheer up, any day you're missing Disney, just go use the lens. It's going to make your day better.
And apparently just typing in, anything into the search bar and seeing what Disney will classify as that search is pretty funny. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us on today's episode of the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. I'm so glad we got this information out there. I think if you're still confused on how to create friends and family, reach out to your Smart Moms agent. That's a hard one. I think that's the hardest thing. Sometimes that can feel overwhelming. Listen back to this section. Make sure you understand that linking. Make sure you know how to link your reservations, tickets, passes, packages, anything that you have in your plans. You should see it there. If you don't see it, it's probably not properly linked. So making sure you have all of that there. And I had somebody ask me recently, I want to go to early entry, but how does Disney know when I scan it? And how do they know I'm part of early entry? I was like, the app is communicating. If everything is linked, it knows. It knows that you have that 60-day priority window if you have your resort linked because they know you're on site. It knows you have that 7-day lightning lane priority window because you have your resort linked. So it knows you're an on-site guest. It's very smart and it's so helpful. So we hope that now you feel like even more of a pro after listening to today's episode. So until next time, we'll see you real soon.